A bad house can cost you thousands. I'm going to give you 10 ways to spot a bad house before it's too late. I bought and sold over $7 million in homes just last year. So listen closely, it's going to be worth your time. And I'll also share at the end of this video a bonus tip, probably the best tip I can give you. So stick around, it'll be worth it. The number one thing you have to look for when you look at a house, when you go to inspect it, start in the basement and look at the foundation. Walk around the outside of the house, see if you see any cracks, any issues, anything that just doesn't look right. And then get in that basement and check that foundation out. Make sure you have proper lighting with you and look all over. If you see cracks, if you see anything that doesn't look right, it's time to stop and have a professional take a look at it. Another thing that I do a lot is I'll go through and see if the doors are shutting correctly. All the doors, closet doors, do they open, do they stick? There's lots of different things that you can do that'll help you tell if that house is settled and that foundation is out of whack. It's a very common thing, and it's a common thing that's missed. It's also one of the most expensive things to fix. So when you're looking to buy a house, make sure you check that foundation first. Number two is the second most expensive thing. That's your roof. So you want to check that out. Now, this is a little easier to check out than the foundation. Obviously, try to get out, look around. Maybe you got to walk far back from the house and look up to see what's going on. Try to get in the attic if you can. When you get in that attic, see if you see any type of moisture at all. Number one, you want to see if you feel any kind or see any kind of mold or anything that may be up in the attic. That's usually a sign of something leaking. If there's a chimney or soil pipe going around, make sure you get a flashlight in there and check around. See if you can see any kind of moisture that may have came down. And also turn the light off, make it dark, and just look and see if you can see any holes anywhere. Definitely check that out. If you see any problems, make sure you understand that a roof is the second most expensive thing about a house, in my opinion. So you want to get that looked at, checked out. That's number two, a bad roof. Number three, that's going to be mechanical. So that's going to be our furnace, our hot water heater, our air conditioner, anything like that that's in a house. You want to make sure you're getting that checked out and you're looking at it. When I go into a house, I don't mind turning the heat on, the air conditioning on, whatever I need to do. I want to see if that thing cycles right, if it can actually put heat out, if it can put cool air out. I want to know what I'm dealing with. So don't be afraid to test things when you're in the house. If you see anything that looks out of range, again, you got to call a professional. But just you on your own, know that mechanicals are very important. Try to take a professional with you if you can when you initially go through the house. Even a good real estate agent will be able to spot a bad mechanical. And then make sure if you notice anything wrong, you get all the testing done. Number four is plumbing problems. Okay, folks, these are kind of easy to spot because if you got a leaking pipe, it's not too hard to see it, but sometimes you don't see it. That's the bad part. So you want to definitely, when you go through the house, you want to turn on water, you want to flush toilets, you want to look around, get in the basement, look up at the ceiling, wherever the bathroom is. Definitely make sure you're checking that ceiling out. Check everywhere that you can because you want to see if there's any kind of plumbing leaks. You see anything that's wrong, if you spot any kind of like low pressure, you hear things maybe in the, if you have a well or pump, if something doesn't sound right, if you're getting a lot of the well kicking on more than it should, you can hear that sometimes. Just be aware that any kind of plumbing issue is very expensive and you want to do your homework and make sure you're looking extra good for any kind of leak or issue that may arise. Number five is electrical red flags, flickering lights, old wiring, or insufficient outlets, folks. That's right, you can just walk around and pretty much tell this one sometimes. Look at the prongs. Is it a 3-prong plug-in or is it a 2-prong? When you get up, if you want to research what knob and tube wiring looks like ahead of time, you'll see what that looks like online, and you definitely want to try to stay away from that if possible. Again, I would take any and all precautions. I would flip on light switches. I would check everything I could. Again, for electrical is a lot of times tied into mechanical also. So I would turn the thermostat up, turn the thermostat down, make sure the heating system is turning on and it's got electric to it. And just look at the overall electricity. Where I start is just outside. I start right up at the pole and I come down. And you'll see how weathered that looks where the meter is. If that wire looks very weathered, then you know you're going to probably be replacing that service. Get down and make sure that you got a breaker box and not and that you're not dealing with fuse boxes or dangerous boxes. And just kind of go from there. Follow that wiring all around the house. Again, if you see something that looks wrong, it's time to call a professional. Number six is not going to be as easy to spot, but it's encroachments. So encroachments could be a driveway, a shed, a fence. It could be anything like that. So what you want to do is kind of get on your county auditor site if you can, or at least get a site survey of the property and kind of look to see where the driveway is. Is a neighbor driveway on that property? Is the driveway on the neighbor's property? Is the fence where it should be? Is there a barn? There's lots of things that you got to look out for. But you want to make sure before you buy this house, the property lines are intact and that nothing is out of the boundary lines. If that is, that can be expensive. It can cause fights with neighbors. It can cause big problems. Make sure you know your boundaries, your surveys, and make sure there are no encroachments. Number 7 is mold, moisture, and poor ventilation. Man, nothing smells worse than mold and poor ventilation in a house. And you can usually spot that as soon as you walk in the door. So get your sniffers out, folks. That's the first thing to do when you walk in the house. Say, how does it smell? Musty smells, water stains, condensation on windows, stuffy air conditioning, airflow issues. Those are all things that we're talking about here. So you want to look in the corners. You want to look in the attics, the basements. You want to see how it looks, see how it smells. If you're seeing anything black or different, yellow, it doesn't look right, especially on foundation walls. Get down in the basement, especially in the corners, and see if they look wet, look black, any of that. If you know that's going on, again, you want to get a professional. You want to find out where that water's coming from, and you want to make sure it's something you can stop before you buy that house, because water is one of the most expensive things to fix. Believe me, it's very expensive. Number 8 is the worst of them all, DIY disasters. That's right, the weekend warriors, the people that think they know how to fix something and they don't. And believe me, there are lots of them. Beware of this. When you walk through a house and you see something that just doesn't quite look right, that could be a DIY disaster. So make sure that when you buy the house, that you ask the people selling the house or the real estate agent who made the repairs, when they made the repairs, and if there's any warranty that comes with the repairs that were made. You'll see a lot of plumbing, electrical, people in these day and age, they're just trying to save some money. So they're not afraid to get on YouTube and try to tackle it themselves. And that can be very expensive to you. So watch out for DIY disasters and don't make them yours. Number 8 is energy efficiency. So that's what we're going to be looking for as we go through the house. We're going to be looking at the, let's just start with the refrigerator. How old's the refrigerator? Is it energy efficient? Then let's get to the basement. Let's look at the hot water tank, the furnace. Let's see how that looks. Let's check out the windows. Do they seem like they're sealed? Just kind of take a look around. If you're dealing with old windows that have paint that's flaking off of it, well, that could be a problem. And that's something that you want to find out about. So you want to really look at energy efficiency and how that house is going to perform for you. If you got to replace all the windows, the furnace, the hot water tank, again, that might be not be the house to buy. So you definitely want to make sure you're checking that. Even if you fall in love with the backyard, folks, you want to check all of these out, because there are things that we all love about houses, certain parts of it, but there's other parts of houses that can be very expensive for you. Make sure you check out energy efficiency. Number 10 is pest problems. Well, nothing worse than a bunch of mice in your house, right? I don't know. You got to check this out, because sometimes this is one of the hardest things to find. Obviously, an inspection is good. Termites are a problem in many states. Mice get in, rats get in. I mean, there's all kinds of problems. Spiders, bats, you name it. You want to be looking as you walk through this house for anything that doesn't look right. Droppings, anything that doesn't smell right. Try to get in the attic, try to get in the basement. Look around, see if you see in the foundation any holes at all where any type of rodent may be getting in. And don't forget about the occasional groundhog that'll bore a great big hole down beside the porch, and it just causes all kinds of trouble. So you want to check all that out. Look for any holes, look for any problems. Pests can cost you a lot of money. Okay, I promised you a bonus. Here it is, number 11. Number 11 is the best advice I'm going to give you in this whole video. Throughout all 10 issues I told you about, I told you to get a contractor, check with a contractor. Let's take it now to the next level. If you know you have a problem with the house, before you sign the deal, make sure you get that contractor out to look at it, but make sure you maybe get 2 or 3 contractors when you know you got a problem, and get 3 good estimates. Folks, the reality is these days labor has went up, materials have went up, and what we used to pay for fixing a hot water tank, for instance, might have been $600 or $700. Now is almost $1,500, $1,800, depending on where you're at, but prices have significantly went up. So make sure before you sign on that line of that house that you not only know what the problem is with the house, what it's going to cost to fix, and that it fits into your budget so that you're not buying a disaster. You do not want to buy a house that you cannot fix, or you got to pay much more money than you thought it was going to cost. Just some good advice. Stay tuned to this channel for lots of other good videos. but make sure you nail down the price from that contractor before you buy that house. Thanks for watching, folks.